In 1963, the band Homer and the Barnstormers released an album on the Somerset label, Bluegrass Banjos... on Fire. It was an album of pretty standard bluegrass songs. About half of them included vocals and the other half were instrumentals, largely featuring the banjo, of course, but also had some great fiddle breaks. And it became a favorite album for banjo players. While the songs were standards, the picking was definitely not the standard banjo picking, especially for the time. Now, the Somerset catalog has been passed through a number of different labels through the years, and the songs have been re-released, repackaged, redistributed. At one point, the album was a double album with another band, the Wild Oats, but made no indication on the album that it was from two different bands. So there's a lot of confusion with this album. I have Flaming Banjos, Pickin' and Singin' by Homer and the Barnstormers. This was released in the 1980s in Canada. Now, it also doesn't help that no one has ever been confirmed that they were Homer or the Barnstormers. There's no information on the back of the album listing the musicians who played. Homer and the Barnstormers, they never toured, they never booked venues, and it became one of the great mysteries in bluegrass. Now, names have been tossed around for years. Sonny and Bobby Osborne, the Osborne brothers, who were at one point thought to be possibly the artists. Bobby Thompson, the banjo player for Hee Haw, Curtis McPeak, another banjo player, all have been connected to the album and all for various reasons have been rejected as the players. In fact, Sonny said he has no recollection whatsoever of ever recording any of those songs and doesn't sound like Sonny Osborne on banjo. Harry Haynes, also known as Homer, of the comedy duo Homer and Jethro, he's been linked to the album and could potentially be the guitar player that you hear. But it has never been confirmed nor denied that Homer and the Barnstormers is Homer Haynes. But there is a potential clue on the cover. Now, the photo of the banjos on the front cover, specifically the middle banjo, was recognized as being owned by New York banjo player Roger Sprung. Now, Roger's banjo picking is very unorthodox, so he became a prime candidate for potentially being the mystery artist. And Roger did confirm not only is the middle banjo his, but all three were his. The cover photo was taken by George Piccolo, the husband of country singer Gene Ritchie. And to get the photo of the banjos on fire, they dug a hole in a field, placed a makeshift stand for the banjos, then with some lighter fluid, started a fire well in front of the banjos and took a long shot with a telephoto lens to get that desired effect of the banjo on fire. But Roger Sprung also confirmed it wasn't his playing on the album, so that's an apparent dead end. However, banjo player Jim Pankey noticed the banjo playing on the song Camptown Races sounded a lot like Buck Trent, a name that has been floated around as a possible candidate for the mystery banjo picker. Buck has a very unorthodox sound, plays an electric banjo as part of country star Porter Wagner's band, and if you listen to the recording of Camptown Races on Homer and the Barnstormers and compare it to Buck's playing, actually Charles Trent, he was going by at the time, of Camptown Races on his 1962 album, The Sound of a Five-String Banjo, the two seem awfully close. And when Buck Trent was approached as to whether he was the mystery artist, he replied he didn't remember playing on the album, but it sure sounded a lot like him. Now, likely the artists were under contract with other record labels, so they didn't want to be associated with the recording, or perhaps they were union musicians working outside union wages. Perhaps they were just some bands that no one, or some musicians that no one ever knew about, and perhaps part of the joy of the album is not knowing for certain who is Homer and the Barnstormers.